I'm Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different, and every breakup is different. Work with me, and you'll get professional help on your situation. Just click on the link in the description below, or go to my website, askcraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about when they're hurt by what you did. So, sometimes we do things in relationships that are very hurtful to our partner. Now, it could be something where you didn't mean to do it and it was unintentional, or sometimes we say things or do things that are intentional and they really do hurt the person. So, if you hurt somebody, regardless if it was intentional or unintentional, a lot of times they can lose their trust in you and not believe in you anymore. So they might not forgive you. And a lot of you guys are in situations where you have done something, regardless of what it is, where your partner or your ex doesn't forgive you and they just can't let go. And it's very difficult in these situations because you can't force somebody to trust you and you can't force them to forgive you. So in these situations, there's a good chance it's going to take a lot of time and effort to even get them to open up to the idea of working things out or forgiving you. And, you know, a lot of times people don't want to do the work. They say, oh, I'm going to change. I promise I'm going to change. I'm going to do something different. And then they don't. And so then the partner's even more upset because you've made all these promises and you don't stick to them. I'm not big on the promises. I like to look at actions. And, you know, just something that came to my mind as I'm talking about this was I did an email coaching with somebody that I did a Skype with months ago. And you know, a lot of you ladies always hear guys say, I promise I'm going to change, I promise I'm going to get into counseling, and then you fall for it. You say, oh, he means it this time, you really want to believe in him, and then they don't do it. Once you take them back, that's it. They don't put in the effort. So, be very careful in those situations, ladies. Don't just trust his words, you need to look at his actions. So, I got an interesting email today. This one is a really unusual situation. But here's the other thing about hurting our partner. Under what I discussed earlier about we do something to hurt our partner. Well, sometimes we might do something small and they make it into something a lot bigger. And the reaction is disproportionate to what we've actually done. And I think I've got a situation today in this email where something like that has happened. Because, yes, I do agree. Well, you'll see. This guy did something to hurt his girlfriend. But you're going to see how disproportionate her reaction is to him. And I'm actually going to read some text messages from the girl who broke up with this guy. So you can see both perspectives, and this is a good one because you get to see what she says about it and what he says about it, okay? So, the guy in this video is in his early 20s, and the woman is around the same age, and they've been dating for over a year. Now, when I asked him about what happened, he said they had a couple of arguments. After a few weeks, he messaged her apologizing and saying that he missed her and they should hang out. And when he did ask her to hang out, that's where I have the text messages from her. Okay? So, He says, this is his side of the story. He says, I messaged my previous ex a few times because she has no one to confide in about her depression. So I let her talk to me so she would feel better about it. I didn't flirt with her or anything. But boy, I can't speak. But my ex felt betrayed when she found out I was talking to my previous ex, and she held it against me for a couple of months before we broke up. She never let go of what happened. Okay, so you're in a situation here. He's communicating with his ex, but he's saying that he's not flirting. He's just talking to her because she is having some depression. He feels like he's trying to be there for her. I could see that side of it. I could see his current girlfriend's problem with it in that he's in, continued communication with an ex. So that can be anxiety provoking, especially those of us that have an anxious attachment style or have insecurity issues, okay? So I'm going to read her reply to him asking her to get together. And I'm going to say it in a nicer way than she did. I thought about it. The answer is no to everything. You effing hurt me. No matter what I did, I felt like it could never compare to your ex. Do you know how crappy that is? And you can sit there and tell me that you have zero feelings for her, blah blah. If that's the case, why the F did you continue to talk to her even after I told you, and I quote, if you talk to her again, I will break up with you. So, lots of trauma and drama in this text. And she gave him an ultimatum, right? And what's the ultimatum? If you talk to her again, I will break up with you. You obviously didn't give a crap about me leaving you when you decided to video chat with her. I also don't believe you when you say it was a reference for a job. Or was it about your depression? I don't know. You've changed your story so many times. Anyways, do you think I'm that stupid? The only reason I held off on breaking up with you for so long was because I was so scared to live without you. You were my best friend and I loved you. But when the person you love continues to screw you over time after time, love isn't enough. Especially if you feel like crap every day because you're not... Oh, this other girl's name. Okay. Because you had such a fascination with her. Otherwise, you would have listened to me the first time when I told you not to talk to her. It took you 4 times. 4 times. I don't know how the hell I held on for that long. I'm going to be honest. I almost downloaded Tinder and almost went on a date with a guy while we were still dating. I wanted you to feel as hurt and betrayed as I had felt. That's when I realized that this relationship was turning toxic. That was when you figured it out. I am not that person to get even. I hated myself for it. I didn't even go on the date, but I felt so effing guilty for even talking to another guy. I'm not gonna feel that low again. I am also not gonna put myself in a situation to get hurt again. With you, it's inevitable. Again, you can say you'll never do it again. I've heard that before. And look what happened. I'm so sorry. I have too much respect for myself. I'm in a happy place right now, and this last month has been one of the best for me. I'm not going to let you bring me down. I'm not trying to make you feel like crap. You're an amazing woman. You brought so much joy and happiness into my life, and we have some unforgettable memories. But it's time for me, at least, to start a new chapter in my life. Please, 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 figure your crap out before you get into a relationship with somebody else, whether it's learning how to decline your ex's calls or how to talk to people other than your ex about your depression. I accept your apology and I appreciate it. But unfortunately, It's a little too late, and the damage is a little too big. I really hope you find happiness. You deserve it, but it won't be with me. Also, I blocked that bitch's number in your phone about 8 months ago. I'm glad I can finally get that one off my chest. Woo! She is furious. And this is a tough one because while she shouldn't be telling him who he can and can't talk to, especially if it's in a non-romantic way. Like, if he's being transparent with her and saying, look, I talked to her for a little while. Now, I was a little confused because I thought it was about her depression, but according to this text message, it's about his depression. So there's some conflicting information going on here. And I don't know how much or how little he's giving me. Yes, because it does say she has no one to confide in and about her depression, but then she made it very clear that it's about his depression. So I don't know what's going on because she's furious, okay? And if you go through this a little bit at a time here, you know, she said, if you continue to talk to this girl, I'm going to break up with you. Well, is that fair? It is an ex, but, you know, why are you talking to that ex? If they really are depressed and having a difficult time, then I would think you would try and give them some leeway and try and be somewhat understanding of that. But, you know, I mean, you should see there's a lot of bold caps locks in here and a lot of curse words that I censored. So she's just really furious about this guy. And, you know, he isn't being forthcoming about everything with her, obviously, because she said, you've changed your story so many times. Anyways, do you really think that I'm stupid? So, obviously, he was giving her excuses. I talked to her this, I talked to her about that. And she feels like you're enamored by her. It's difficult for me to say because I don't know how truthful you're being in this situation. It feels like there's more to it than you're saying. And maybe she's blowing some of this out of proportion. So it's probably somewhere in the middle with this situation. She seems to really care about this guy. I mean, because she has nothing but nice things to say as far as who he is as a person. And, you know, she wants great things for you. And you were my best friend. I loved you. But she's saying you continued to screw her over time and time again. So I feel like there's got to be more to it than this. Right? I don't think it's just based on what you've told me, and there's obviously more to it than what's going on in this text message. She thinks you're fascinated with her, and, you know, she's honest. She's furious, but she's honest. You know, she didn't have to tell you that she downloaded Tinder and almost went on a date with a different guy. I mean, not that it was great for her to do that, but you could see the point is she's being very blunt and honest in her text message to him, so why would she be lying, is my point, right? She felt betrayed and hurt. Now, I do think she's got some early childhood trauma, because it's very dramatic, and literally that everything that I just read was one text message. Literally one. So I had to go through the screen and slide over 4 times. It was that long. It was literally 4 entire length of the phones of a message. I mean, so there's a lot of drama there. And I think that there's a lot of early childhood wounds with this girl. So it's kind of a combination of his behavior and her trauma, and it just getting volatile and exploding. And she is furious and so hurt. And this isn't going to be an easy situation, because she is convinced that you're going to hurt her again. And I don't know that you won't. Based on what she's saying here and what you've told me, it be somewhere in the middle between both of these stories, doesn't it? I mean, she repeatedly asked you not to talk to this girl, and she said she asked you to stop 4 times, and you continue to do it. So you were obviously being deceitful when you were continuing to talk to this girl. You didn't sit down and say, hey, I'm going to continue talking to her. We need to figure this out one way or the other. I have no problem if you're there when I talk to her. I have no, if you look at the messages between us. I mean, if something like that needs to be more transparent. But she was repeatedly hurt by you over and over and over again. And she's saying, please figure out your crap before you get into a relationship with somebody else. So there's got to be more to it than just what you're telling me, buddy. I look at situations like this, and I look at how both people are acting and reacting, and I do feel like her reactions are overreacting to what he was doing, unless there was significant behavior that I don't know about. But I don't think that's the case. I do think there's more to it, but I don't know how significant it is. Obviously, you didn't cheat on her or anything like that, because she would have said it in this message. I think there would have been another 12 pages to this message. I mean, this girl was flat out brutally honest, and she even said, I blocked that bitch's number in your phone about 8 months ago. I'm glad I could finally get that one off her chest. So she has integrity in the sense that she felt guilty and she felt remorse for what she did to you in blocking that girl's number. Tough situation. Definitely, she is very angry and resentful, and while I do think it's somewhat disproportionate to what you did, you repeatedly hurt her by doing something behind her back, and there's obviously more to it than that. So, he has a few questions. He asks, if she didn't care about me anymore, why would any of that matter to you? Well, she does care about you. Because the way she talks about you, she definitely cares about you. Because she said you were her best friend. She said, you're an amazing human being. You brought so much joy and happiness into my life. And we have some unforgettable memories. So she obviously does really care about you. But I would say at this point, she is furious. And you need to give her time and space. Because I really don't think there's anything you could say or do that's going to change her mind right now. She's just too angry and too hurt. And she's not going to believe you. She knows what your issues are. You're not being forthcoming about all of this. So I don't know what your issues are. But I know that they're obviously there because she's pointing them out and she's being brutally honest. So, it's tough. He asks, she used to always say she loved me and would never want anyone else. Well, yes, she said that at the time and she meant it. But remember, feelings change like the clouds that move across the sky, and a woman's interest level will always rise and fall like the sea. And so she meant it, yeah, but now she doesn't feel like that. You're trying to hold her to what she said, months ago? That's not going to fly. He says, I don't think she was lying when she said it. I cut off all contact with my previous ex so that the situation won't repeat itself. Well, at this point, it's, I think, probably too little too late. At least right now it is. Because she asked you to stop talking to the ex. Now, whether or not you decided to stop talking to the ex, that's a personal decision. I'm not going to say one way or the other whether you should have done that, because I could see both sides of that. But if she was under the impression that you had stopped talking to the ex and you continued to do it, then you violated her trust. And I think in a situation like this, where you're maybe with a partner that is insecure, you have to be an open book. You have to be transparent and honest. And any kind of shady behavior is going to warrant them being hurt and angry and upset. She warned you. She made it very clear to you that if you did it again, she was going to break up with you. Now, is that right or wrong? That is a personal decision for your own personal life and your own romantic relationship, whether or not you were going to tolerate those kind of boundaries or whatever you set for yourself. But she set a boundary, she made it clear, and you did it again. How she found out, I don't know. You didn't tell me. You didn't say if she went through your phone. You didn't tell me if you admitted it. I don't know how that happened. But he says, advice on how to get her back to talking to you again and getting her to trust you again would be appreciated. Well, listen, buddy. You got to give this girl some time and some space for the anger to subside and for her to miss you, because she obviously does love you. She obviously does care about you. But talking to her now is just going to make her lash out and more angry. Given, situations like this, if you give her some time and give her some space, she might really start to think about things and realize, well, you know what? Maybe I did get a little too angry at him over this. And maybe it is something that we could work on. But there's obviously more to it in this situation than you've told me, because she's saying you need to get your crap together. And so I don't think it's just about you talking to this girl. Now, I don't even know who's depressed, because you said she's depressed. She's saying you're depressed. So I don't even know who's depressed. Maybe you're depressed. Maybe you got some issues. Maybe you need to go see a psychiatrist. Get evaluated for some medication. There's no points for suffering. You don't get bonus points for suffering with a depression. And the medication that they have these days is a lot more effective than what they had even 10, 20 years ago. So if you are depressed and you've got a lot of that going on, you really should consider getting to a psychiatrist, or maybe going to see yourself a therapist locally. You got to deal with your problems. Obviously, you got some, and she's got some. But in a relationship, you have to be honest and upfront about things, and you have to act like an adult. Personally, I think she's kind of being over the top with you, not, saying you can't talk to that ex. If I had a partner that told me that, I would be pretty upset about that. But like I said, every relationship is different. That's a personal decision. As far as getting her to trust you again, she just doesn't think she can because of your previous lies or deceit with her. And you're going to have to show her that you've made a long-lasting change. And until she really sees that, I don't think she's going to give you another chance. It's definitely not one person's fault in this situation. You did something that hurt her. I feel like she's kind of blowing it out of proportion. It's disproportionate to what you did. It seems like both of you have kind of created this, and obviously it led to a lot of hurt, a lot of anger, and now the relationship is just falling apart completely. So I would highly recommend you working on yourself and look at making some real lasting changes in yourself before you even consider mentioning to this girl working things out. And I would do it very, very, very slowly. And I would even say to her, listen, if she reaches out to you in a couple months, say to her, look, I don't want you to trust me any more than you're willing to. And be forthcoming about that. And so if she thinks that you are wanting her to trust each other again, you want to make it seem like, look, I want you to take your time. I only want to, give you earn a little bit of your trust at a time, because I know that I lost it before. So, if you want to get my help personally, go to my website, askcraig.net, sign up for a coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching, I do Skype coaching. If you like the video, put a like on there. So, I really do appreciate it when you guys do that. And be sure to subscribe to the channel, because I do post videos Monday through Friday. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.